The Pittsburgh Steelers has had 53 draft picks since 2017, resulting in 5 different Pro Bowl caliber players. I'm going to be grading off solely how these players performed in Pittsburgh. Going back to 2017, the Pittsburgh Steelers select TJ Watt with the 30th pick in the first round. There's not much to say besides that TJ has been absolutely dominant. He's made 5 Pro Bowls, 3 All-Pros, and 1 Defensive Player of the Year in 2021. I'm giving this draft selection a easy A+. In the second round, the Steelers drafted Juju Smith-Schuster, the wide receiver out of USC. Juju had a great sophomore campaign in 2018 where he had 1,400 yards and 111 catches. But after that amazing Pro Bowl season, Juju slowly declined on Pittsburgh. In 2019, he played only 12 games, and in 2020, the infamous TikTok dance saga was in full effect. Juju then only played 5 games in 2021 for the Steelers. Juju went to Kansas City where he won a ring, and now he's in New England. For Pittsburgh, Juju had some highs and had some lows. I'll give the Juju draft pick a C+. The Steelers then drafted Cameron Sutton and James Conner in the third round. Sutton has been an average to solid cornerback for his career. Last year in 2022, Sutton had his best season, getting 3 interceptions and 15 pass deflections. Now Sutton is now a part of the young Detroit Lions roster. At pick 105, Pittsburgh selected James Conner. If you want to look at highs and lows, look at Conner. In his rookie year, Conner never really got significant reps, but then in 2018, he became a Pro Bowler after getting 1,470 total yards and 13 touchdowns in 12 games. His yards per carry were never high, but it fell lower from 4.5 in 2018 to 4 yards per carry in 2019. Conner was once again nothing special in 2020. Then in 2021, he would end up in Arizona where he finished with over 1,100 total yards and 18 touchdowns. James Conner was solid in 2022, getting over 1,000 total yards and 8 tutties. James Conner is now a 2-time Pro Bowler and it seems to be on the right path. I would give Sutton a C grade and Conner a C+ grade. In the 4th round, the Steelers selected Joshua Dobbs, a player who's always been a alright backup quarterback. He only threw 17 total passes in his time with Pittsburgh. Most recently, he started for the Titans where he would fumble for a defensive touchdown to end the Titans' playoff hopes. I'll give Joshua Dobbs a D+ grade. In the 5th round, the Steelers selected the corner Brian Allen. He never panned out for the Steelers, and Pittsburgh would end up waiving Allen not even 2 years after his rookie debut. I'll give Brian Allen a D- grade. In the 6th round, the Steelers selected long snapper Colin Hoba. It's not common you see a long snapper go in the 6th round, and even at the time, it was a puzzling selection. Hoba didn't even make a full season with Pittsburgh, and he ended up playing for 6 different teams before retiring. I'll give Colin a F grade. And with their last pick in 2017, the Steelers select linebacker Keon Adams. He also never became anything special for the Steelers, and he currently plays for a Canadian football team. I'll give this pick a D+. Now for 2018, the Steelers select Terrell Edmunds 28th overall. Edmunds started 60 games for Pittsburgh in his first 4 years, and he racked up 340 tackles, 5 interceptions, and 21 passes defended on his rookie deal. Edmunds is consistently on the field. He only missed 1 week in his first 4 years. In 2022, Edmunds went for 70 tackles and 2 sacks for Pittsburgh, but he's been pretty disappointing for a first-round pick. I'll give Terrell Edmunds a C grade. In the 2nd round, the Steelers selected wide receiver James Washington. Washington was nothing special for Pittsburgh. The highlight of his career was leading the Steelers in receiving yards in 2019 when Big Ben got hurt. James Washington ended up not getting re-signed by the Steelers and got bounced from practice squad to practice squad. He signed a 1-year deal with the Saints in this year's free agency. I'll give James Washington a grade of a D. In round 3, the Steelers selected Mason Rudolph with the 76th pick. He never played in 2018, but in 2019 he was thrusted into action after Big Ben went down after needing elbow surgery. Rudolph started 8 games and went 5-3, but after that, Mason Rudolph would only make random appearances for the Steelers. He re-signed with Pittsburgh and is currently the 3rd string behind Pickett and Mitch Trubisky. I'll give this draft pick a D+. Also in round 3, the Steelers selected the offensive tackle out of Western Michigan. Okorafor has been solid for the Steelers, playing the 4th most offensive snaps in the league in 2022. I'll give this pick a C+. In the 4th round, the Steelers drafted Marcus Allen. Allen only played in 2 games in his rookie season, and in 2019 he didn't make a roster spot, but he was signed for practice squad. He would go on to get promoted to the Steelers' active roster, but only played 1 game. Allen was drafted as a safety, but after moving to linebacker, he would go on to play 45 games over the last 3 seasons. Marcus Allen is no longer on Pittsburgh and is currently a free agent. I'll give Marcus Allen a D+ grade. In round 5, the Steelers got Jalen Samuels. Samuel's only bright spot during his time for Pittsburgh was in his rookie season when he rushed for 142 yards against the Patriots, where the Steelers won 17-10. After failing to make the team in 2021, Samuels went on to the Steelers practice squad, where he eventually got released. Samuels would sign a contract with Arizona, but he was released before training camp. Samuels is currently a free agent, and since he did have a great performance in a win against the Steelers' rival, I would give this pick a C- grade. In round 7, the Steelers drafted Joshua Frazier. Frazier didn't even make the Steelers practice squad in his rookie year, and in May of 2019, Joshua Frazier retired from football. I'm giving Joshua Frazier a D grade. Now for the 2019 draft. With the 10th pick, the Steelers selected Devin Bush Jr. The Steelers actually moved up in the draft to get Bush, trading picks 20 and 52 in that year's draft, and a 2020 third-round pick. If the Steelers didn't trade up, Pittsburgh could have selected Deebo Samuel, A.J. Brown, or DK Metcalf. On defense, they could have drafted Byron Murphy and Jeffrey Simmons. It was clear the Steelers were trying to fill the void left by Ryan Shazier, but they ended up overpaying for Bush. The Steelers ended up declining his 5th-year option, and I'll give this pick a D+. With their 3rd-round pick, the Steelers selected Deontay Johnson. Johnson is an underrated receiver that made the Pro Bowl in 2021. He's been Pittsburgh's #1 wide receiver for a couple of years now. I grade this pick a A-. Now with the 83rd pick in the 3rd round, the Steelers selected Justin Layne. Layne never ended up panning out like many expected. He had all the physicals but never made much of an impact. At just the age of 25, Layne is currently not on an NFL roster. I give Justin Layne a D-. The Steelers selected Benny Snell Jr. with the 4th-round pick. Snell has had some good single-game performances, but overall he hasn't done much. Benny Snell is currently a free agent at the age of 25. I'll give this draft pick a D+. With their 5th-round pick, the Steelers drafted Zach Gentry. Gentry never got consistent reps until Eric Ebron got hurt in 2021. The 6'8" tight end isn't anything special, but he is a decent backup behind Pat Freiermuth. I'll give this selection a C. With the 175th pick in the 6th round, the Steelers selected Sutton Smith. Smith did not make the team in 2019, and because that's pretty common, I'll give Sutton Smith a D grade. With the 192nd pick in the 6th round, the Steelers drafted Isaiah Buggs. Buggs has never been a real starter for Pittsburgh, but he was a reliable backup. He got released by Pittsburgh in January of 2022, eventually signing with the Lions in July of 2022. 8 months later, Buggs signed a 2-year, $6 million contract extension. I'll give Buggs a C+ due to the value he brought considering he was a 6th rounder. And with their 3rd 6th round pick from 2019, the Steelers drafted Ulysses Gilbert. Gilbert was an athletic freak, but it never translated into much for the Steelers. At most, Gilbert was a useful special teams player. I'll give this pick a D+. With their last pick of the 2019 draft, the Steelers selected Derwin Gray. Gray played just 5 games for the Steelers in 2020 and was released before the end of the 2020 season. I'll give Derwin Gray a D grade. In the 2020 draft, the Steelers started by going out and drafting Chase Claypool with a 2nd round pick. After Claypool showed promise in his first year, it all went downhill. In an infamous moment where Claypool was celebrating in a moment when the Steelers had to save clock. It seemed like it was only a guarantee that Claypool would be shipped somewhere else after that. Claypool currently plays for the Bears, struggling in 2022 with his new quarterback, Justin Fields. I'll give Claypool a D grade. With their 2020 third-round pick, the Steelers selected Alex Highsmith. Highsmith showed promise in 2020, but in 2022, he didn't just play good, he was amazing, racking up 14.5 sacks with 5 forced fumbles, a league high. Alex Highsmith looks to be an absolute gem. Steelers get an A for this selection. If Highsmith plays great for another year, it can easily go up to an A+. With their 4th round pick, the Steelers draft Anthony McFarland Jr. McFarland has never shown any signs of being a capable starter, only playing in 14 games in 3 years. He's currently the Steelers' 3rd string running back after getting beaten out of the backup spot by undrafted player Jaylen Warren. I'll give this pick a D- grade. After only starting 4 games in his rookie year and missing half the year due to injury in his sophomore year, Dotson started all 17 games for Pittsburgh. But after the Steelers signed Isaac Seumalo, Dotson is currently the backup right guard. I'll give this pick a C+. With a 6th round pick, the Steelers drafted safety Antoine Brooks Jr. On September 2nd, 2021, Brooks was released after being placed on IR, and he currently plays in the XFL. I'll give this pick a D. And with the last pick in the 2020 draft, the Steelers select defensive tackle Carlos Davis. In his 3-year career, Davis has never started a game, and has played in only 12 total games. In August of 2022, Davis was waived, eventually signing with the Falcons in June 2023. I'll give Carlos Davis a C- since 7th rounders usually don't even make it that far. Now on to the 2021 draft. With Pittsburgh 1st round draft pick, the Steelers select Najee Harris. Najee has promise, but there's a question mark about his efficiency. But Najee has proven he's legit, getting over 2,900 total yards and 20 tutties in just his first 2 years. I'll give Najee a A-. With the Steelers' 2nd round draft pick, they draft Pat Freiermuth. Pat was underutilized in his rookie year, but in his sophomore year, his volume increased significantly. Freiermuth managed to get 700 plus yards on 98 targets, but Pat's touchdowns dropped from 7 in his rookie year to 2 in his sophomore year. Even with that, Freiermuth is already a top 10 tight end in the league at just 24 years old. I'll give Freiermuth a A- draft grade. With their 3rd round pick, the Steelers drafted Kendrick Green. After struggling heavily in his rookie year at center, Kendrick Green moved to guard, but because how bad he performed in his rookie year, he was benched even after moving to guard. Now Kendrick Green is just sitting on the bench as a backup. I grade this draft pick a F. In the 4th round, the Steelers select Dan Moore Jr. Moore started at left tackle in just his rookie year and even started every single game in his first 2 years. But even with playing a lot, Moore heavily struggled. And now with the Steelers drafting Broderick Jones, many people have forgot about Moore. Dan Moore is currently the starting left tackle, but it seems like it's certain that Broderick will eventually take the starting spot during the season as long as Broderick progresses as expected. I grade this pick a C. With the Steelers' 2nd 4th round pick, they selected Buddy Johnson. After not getting many opportunities in his first year, Buddy Johnson was waived by Pittsburgh after they weren't able to agree to a practice squad contract. Buddy Johnson, after getting released by the Texans and Niners, Johnson has signed with Chicago. I grade this pick a D. With Pittsburgh's 5th round pick, they drafted Isaiah Loudermilk. After the Steelers traded up for Loudermilk, he was thrusted into the starting lineup in his rookie year due to injuries to other players getting hurt on the defensive line. Loudermilk took a step back as a sophomore. In 2022, Loudermilk only started 3 games, and unless he starts showing some promise, he may slip down the depth chart and even lose his spot on the team. I grade the Loudermilk selection a C-. With their 6th round pick, the Steelers drafted Quincy Roche. After signing his rookie deal in May of 2021, he was waived in August, only 3 months later. I grade this draft pick a D. The Steelers used their first 7th round pick on Trey Norwood. Surprisingly, Norwood showed a lot of promise in his rookie year, being caught a Swiss Army knife by Mike Tomlin. After his successful rookie campaign, Norwood only played in 2 games after week 10 in 2022, for a total of 15 defensive snaps. Norwood was completely healthy but never really played. Norwood's role in the defense was eliminated after he struggled in the first 10 weeks of 2022. Trey Norwood could have a bounce back in 2023, but as of right now, I'm going to grade the 7th round pick a C+. And with their last pick of the 2021 draft, the Steelers select Presley Harvin. The punter has struggled in his first 2 years. Coming out of college, he had a huge leg, but in the pros, he struggled with consistency. I'll grade Harvin a D. And the last draft I'm covering is the 2022 draft. The Steelers select Kenny Pickett with the 20th pick. Pickett struggled mightily with interceptions in his first couple of starts, but as he got used to the pros, he ended the season with promise. Pickett looks to be the Steelers quarterback of the future. I'm giving Pickett a B+ grade. In the second round, the Steelers select George Pickens. Pickens, just like Pickett, showed good potential in their rookie year. Pickens made multiple highlight catches and ended his rookie year with over 800 yards. I grade Pickens a B+. In the third round, the Steelers drafted DeMarvin Leal. As his rookie season went on, Leal saw more and more action. Leal still has his great athleticism and explosion even with him putting on weight. Leal only started 2 games and got 14 tackles and 3 passes defended. I grade the draft pick as a B-. In the 4th round, Pittsburgh selected Calvin Austin. Austin was supposed to be a speedy receiver, something the Steelers needed. Unfortunately, Calvin missed his whole rookie campaign with injury. Calvin Austin's draft grade is incomplete. With their 6th round pick, the Steelers select Connor Hayward. Hayward definitely passed the eye test in his rookie year. He was able to catch, run, and block. Hayward, even as a 6th round pick, has shown high promise. It's not a surprise that Hayward routinely leads the Steelers offense in PFF grade. I give Connor Hayward's draft grade a A-. With a 7th round pick, the Steelers drafted the former running back Mark Robinson. Robinson didn't play a lot, only active for 4 games and playing in 2, but when he did play, he showed promise, getting 9 tackles in replace of Devin Bush. He had a modest rookie year, but Robinson could be in line for a breakout year. I give Mark Robinson a draft grade of a B. And lastly, we have the 7th round draft pick, Chris Oludekun. Chris was released shortly after being drafted by Pittsburgh, and Chris has now signed with former Super Bowl champs, the Kansas City Chiefs. I give Chris a draft grade of a D. And that will do it for the video. It took a while to put together, so if you enjoyed, make sure to subscribe if you want to support the channel. I will see y'all next time. Peace.